Hey, Mike, are you still out of the country or? Yeah, there's
Yes,
no way in
yeah,
back.
absolutely.
I can tell by
No,
your
no,
internet connection.
there's way.
Okay,
I know, huh? But yeah, I'm still here actually, right? So I'm loving it here. Anyway, our business is live online,
no, that's right.
so I'm just taking advantage.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Attorney Chiron, how you doing? It's Nate Ireton. So you guys connected through, how do you guys connect or get connected?
Was it through LinkedIn, I believe?
Oh, is it? Oh, through LinkedIn? Okay, gotcha. And then what type of law do you practice now?
Right now, I'm doing corporate finance and real estate transactions.
Oh, okay. No way.
I've done a lot of estate plan. Actually, you know, I think Mike and I connected through NetLaw.
Oh, is that right?
I think because I am an attorney registered on NetLaw, and when
Gotcha.
WFG had the relationship with NetLaw, I think
Got
how Mike and I connected.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
okay.
like 3 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. Is there I'm sure there's still an ongoing relationship, right, with WFG
I don't
and
know.
NetLaw?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
You know, I haven't been affiliated. I haven't been. I think I'm still listed on NetLaw, but I haven't received any calls in the last year or so.
Got it. Oh, okay. So as far as, and then your region is where? What area? Where do you live?
I'm up in Camarillo, Ventura County.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm familiar with the area. My younger brother, who was a pilot for about 10 years, his office is in the Van Nuys Airport.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's probably the closest one we have out your way. But he travels out to Oxnard a lot to do a lot of meetings out there.
Right.
And so you would say that the bulk of your business right now would be in corporate financing law or
right now
contracts together?
The base of my business at this juncture is corporate finance, a lot of real estate. I don't have as many individual clients in the estate planning space any longer at this juncture.
Got it. But do you still practice that, or are you still open to taking that business in?
Yeah, that's still a practice area of mine.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. Got it. And then as far as I know, you guys have been in conversation for the last 3 years. Are you pretty much familiar with the WFG platform, or?
So, and Mike doesn't know this, but I'm real familiar. In fact, in a former life, I was actually licensed Series 7 and worked with a brokerage firm out in DC, Virginia area for about a year and a half. And then when I came back to California, and I believe it's 2003, I affiliated myself with WFG.
Oh, is that right? No way, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, about I think 2003, 2004, I did affiliate myself with WFG and had my license held there for I think about a year, but my legal practice took me to a different route at that time.
Gotcha.
I actually changed brokerage firms and I converted my Series 7 and to a registered investment advisor.
Gotcha.
And formed a state registered investment advisor company, Johnson Investment Management. I haven't done that. I haven't been licensed in financial since I think 2011.
Gotcha. Got it. So is your license still active, or?
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
if I'd have to reactivate it if I decided to go this route again.
Got it. Yeah, I actually that 02 or no, not 02, but 04 is actually when 04, 05 is when I got into the industry.
Okay.
Yeah, me and my older brother was doing mortgages on the weekdays. He sold real estate on the weekends. He did pretty well. 21, had 2 homes.
Mm-hmm.
I decided not to take that route, and that's how I came across WFG. I was going to school full time. I was working full time, and we've been blessed and fortunate. We have over 6 offices with over 500 licensed professionals. We retired my mom. My younger brother's in business with me. My older brother, all our spouses are in business with.
You froze up. Hello? Hello?
Oh, Nate?
It's busy. I mean, I've been the busiest now that we're home, than I've ever have. And I think just because of, the coronavirus, fear sharpens listening. And when people are fearful, they're more, more willing to listen. And so, but, estate planning is a big portion of as far as what we do, because that's the final step of the 6 steps. And I know since '04 or since '05 or since '03, since you hung your license, I mean, a lot has changed big time. I mean, I think the opportunity that exists today, I'd say it's 1,000 times better, because, I came in right around that time, and the success that people have now coming in now versus back then, I mean, it's night and day. It's night and day. And I think you know this already from being around for about a year. The company has always made their decisions based on the newest rep or the newest person in mind. And the question that they ask is, how can I make this better for the new person? And so it's definitely much better as far as boarding process, the product mix, the product portfolio. We brought in wealth management. What's that?
Just having a little technical difficulties.
Okay, can you hear me now, or?
The feed was going in and out, so we're good now. Yeah.
We're good now. Oh, okay. Yeah. So as far as product mix, so for the client, as far as for the consumer, a lot better. Meaning, I'm going to pull up a screen here just to kind of show you. But as far as our conversation here, were you looking at this standpoint as far as, hey, if we can work with you as far as you doing the estate planning side? Were you looking at it as far as an opportunity perspective, or were you looking at
All of the above.
financial solutions? Is there a certain area you want me to?
Well, so this is the be very candid. Mike is a good person, a good persistent individual without, being overly pushy. And just by his natural skills of staying in touch with, someone like me, it led me to say, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's some synergy here. I like Mike's style. I like his, his.
I'm gonna
Hello? Hello?
Nate? Hello?
We lost Nate. Hello, Nate?
Nate? Nate?
Right. We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Oh.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Nate, do you want to use your link in Zoom? Are we okay?
We probably, it's probably just the bandwidth. There's so many people using Zoom right now. They're just probably overwhelmed.
Or Nate, if we can use your link at the US, probably the link in Australia is not as good as we have in the US. We lost Nate already.
Yes.
You're still here with, maybe Nathan's bandwidth also at his home. I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you, Tony. I'm happy to hear that.
Well, like I was telling Nate, I mean, like I was saying, your follow-up, your consistency, was very impressive. And then I thought, okay, maybe there's some synergy here. There's some opportunity. I need to at least connect with you and just, and consider, what could happen, not, and just to see, just to understand. And I believe, Nate's question is, I'm here to see if there's a synergy. I have a certain skill set. Obviously, I am attorney. I practice law. I can provide estate planning. So that might be an opportunity, or it might be opportunity to offer it all. So.
Yeah. Well, I see for the last 7 years that I've been in the company, you have a very powerful stand right now, and in probably your career, you're a very credible guy. That's why that one thing that I'm really grateful also in our team is we're all high professional, we're all educated, most of our team are professional doctors, some lawyers, some high identity nurses. So adding your skills not only in our team but also in our company nationally.
You there?
It's a huge. Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Okay, I lost you there.
Yeah. So I think what you are right now, and all your practice over the years is a huge. You have a very good influence to help people out there. They need you out there, and I just want you to see what the company and our platform nowadays. And it has changed so much because I got my license back in 2013, and then I've been doing this for the last 10 years, and I was tremendously growing, right? So that's what I'm thinking before. I said, Attorney Karen, you're with the Neto platform. How come no one showed you the platform? Because no one showed you the opportunity. You were with Neto before. So that's what I really love about the company is you can share the platform to everybody. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have this call right now. So I don't know, Nate, maybe he lost, let me see.
Okay. There he goes. He's coming back on.
He's back? All right. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, my apologies.
We're having a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Oops.
Can you guys hear me now? See me?
Yeah.
No?
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. All right. We're good now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My internet completely went black. And so,
okay.
But you guys can hear me now?
I sent a backup link just in case. Maybe it's my end in Australia. Or, I sent a link to our group text. If anything comes to worst, we can jump on that link, probably.
Mm-hmm. I know your voice mic cuts in and out. Kyron, are you able to hear me just fine?
Right now I am, yes.
Okay, all right. While it's working, let's rock and roll.
So to answer your question, all the above, the reason I connected with Mike is because Mike was very professional, very informative, and he shared some of the information and some of the groups. And so I said, okay, I'm open to listening. There might be some synergies. I do practice estate planning, so there's some synergies for your clients. Is there a synergy, or is there an opportunity for me to do it all? I don't know, but I'm open to hearing and exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'll pull up a slide here and just kind of give you an idea as far as what changed and what shifted since back in 2003. And let me pull this up, and I'm going to write some things down. So since then, I think when you were back involved, we were World Group Securities.
Yes.
And so right now, since Aegon owns Transamerica, World Group Securities was acquired by Transamerica Financial Advisors. Good for the name, credibility, and a lot more backing there. And so this is pretty much so Aegon, Transamerica, World Financial Group. But let me explain a little bit more in writing. So one of the things that we've expanded for a client platform, so obviously Aegon owns Transamerica, And then within the trans network, there's many different divisions. So there's trans alpha. So trans alpha is, are you familiar with robo advisor?
Yeah, the automatic AI do-it-yourself type of yes.
Correct. Yeah, you got it. So one of the biggest robo advisors out there is Betterment, and Betterment.
Yes.
So we partnered up with Betterment, but we so in partnership, Betterment, we use their platform, everything they do, we use. We just changed the name to Trans Alpha when we send our clients to it.
Oh, so it's like white labeled. So they do all the back office support, but it's under your name, your brand.
Correct. But it is a Betterment platform system,
Right.
Everything, all the investments. So, a lot of times back then you're like, man, why would I service an account for $5,000? It doesn't really compensate me, or an investment strategy. With Trans Alpha, we can just send the link to the client, they sign up, you get credit for it. Mm-hmm. So Trans Alpha was a platform for us to do robo advising, but be able to serve the masses in a greater scale too.
That's huge, actually, because yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
So now we don't the traditional firm, whether the banking or Merrill Lynch or Ameriprise, if you don't have 100,000 or $250,000 to invest, you go, man, go find.
Right.
Here, I can just send them to Trans Alpha. I said, hey, it's a do-it-yourself. In fact, when you do your investing, I can see all your investments, so I can watch it too. Right. So that's that. The other thing that we brought on board is what you call TWM, which is Trans-America Wealth Management. So this is where active money management comes in, and that's where the IAR comes in. Your independent investment advisor representative. So the TWM platform is an active money management platform within World Financial Group. So TWM stands for Trans-America Wealth Management. The other thing on here that was brought on board is, so I recently attended a Trans-America convention. And so at the time, one of the other providers we brought on board, I can't, it's because it's brand new. So we brought on a company where we can manage people's 401k accounts even while they're still employed with their current employer. So basically, most of the time we can't roll the money over until they separate from employment, or they're 59 and a half, and we can take over the assets. This company basically allows us to actively manage their 401k. We become the advisor in record, and they have relationships with over 100,000 of the biggest companies. And then they already created the agreement with Vanguard, Fidelity. So it doesn't matter whether it be Vanguard, Fidelity,
who's actually helping them manage their plan? Do they have, I mean, is the WFG individual are you handling that, or the individual with the Trans-America company?
No, you as the individual. So there's two ways for us to take over a 401k. It's either we take over the entire company's 401k, but if they're not receptive to transferring it over, we could be the agent of record for their, let's say it's with Vanguard, and let's say they work for, I don't know, Kaiser Permanente, and I think Kaiser uses Fidelity. So let's say it's a Kaiser employee, they've been there for 20 years, but they're not 59 and a half. We could be the agent of record in their 401k and be the advisor for Fidelity to manage their 401k.
Okay, I get it.
And then be paid on that platform.
Okay.
And so now it allows us, because the point the guy was making, he said there's over $7 trillion. He said, if you're building a business where you're accumulating assets under management, he said, do you want assets that's being taken out, where people are taking distributions from the money, or do you want an asset that you're building where people are contributing into it? So he said the 401k platform, people are contributing into it. So over time, over 5, 10, 15, 20 years, your asset is, growing. So anyways, we have that, we partnered up with, I think, the only firm that allows, that does that. And then they already have a relationship with over 100,000 of the biggest companies out there. And then, so that's that. And then on the other side, on the WFG insurance agency, there's about 77 different insurance companies, from long-term care, disability, life and health, index annuities, IULs, and all those things that we basically work with. And so, and then All World Financial Group is, right, is a all WFG is a distribution platform that's ultimately ran by what you call SMDs, right, which are senior marketing directors that are independent contractors that own their own agency, and they can choose to be an independent broker, or they can choose to build an agency. And so, but that's pretty much how so on the consumer side, I mean, we can pretty much help a client with every aspect, whether it's their existing 401k, long-term care, disability, I mean, you name it, we have. The other partnership we created is those companies we don't have individual contracts with. We partnered up with Crump. So Crump allows us to, Crump allows us to work with many other companies that we don't have an individual contract with. Like, give you an example, like one of them, I don't know if you're familiar with Lloyd's of London.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So like, we're working with an NFL player right now. You know, he's signing a 4-year, $30 million contract. Well, we can guarantee 80%, 90% of his contract in case he gets injured or gets let go of the company. Let go of the team. So anything financially, we can pretty much cater, from a big scope to a small scope. We have all the platforms to be able to help out someone. And on the entrepreneur side, let me change this out. On the entrepreneur side, we basically simplified it. So on the entrepreneur platform, ultimately, so I'm bringing on, for some reason, we have a lot of industry professionals jumping over. I brought somebody over from LPL that had over $20 million under management. I brought in James. James, also from the industry, he's been in the industry for 6 years. The guy I'm on, I've had two video calls with him. I have another one on Monday, but he's coming over from Prudential. He's been with Prudential now for about 12 years. And so for some reason, we're attracting a lot of people back into our company. And the conversation I had with the Prudential guy, because he had, outside of us, he's looking into 3-4 other companies, right? 3-4 other companies. And I asked him a question. I said, are you looking for an employee platform, or are you looking for an entrepreneur platform? Because I said, if you're looking for an employee platform, we're not in a contract business. And in fact, we don't give the highest contract, but we have a pretty free platform. I said, but if you're looking for an entrepreneur platform, I don't know that you'll find anything else out there that gives you the freedom to help out your clients as much as you want, and the freedom as an entrepreneur to go build it as big as you want with a $500 billion money backer in Transamerica. So we got the freedom to build a business and have a $500 billion company that runs all the payroll. They negotiate all the contracts. They do all that stuff. The only thing left for us to do is actually to go run our business. And so when I go over this chart, I go, there's 4 different ways we generate income. And so the first one is what we call personal income, which personal income is upfront, what I choose to generate upfront through the sale of, life insurance, long-term care, investments, and all that stuff. So there's upfront income. And then, as you know, there's renewals, and then there's also trails, right? Or IAR, fee-based. So these are all upfront income that I get to build. And my income is in direct proportion to, right, what I personally do out there. Now, should I choose to build an agency, right? Should I choose to build an agency, then I generate my second income, which is what I call training income. And so I can become a broker and develop agents and all those things. And on average, I get about a 20% spread as a broker. But my outcome, so with this though, this is basically, so this is active income temporarily. I got to actively do it temporarily so I can eventually get on this side. And one of the things I wanted to talk about on this side, so that I could be on the passive side, I can be on the passive permanently. All right. And so, so what makes us unique, and as I was telling the guy this, I said, what makes us unique, he said, the third way we generate income is what we call expansion income. And I go, so I have several clients. I have a client that owns 6 KFC franchises. We have another client that owns 10 different McDonald's franchises. And so one of the things is, you know, I pride myself, I'm not the smartest cat, but I have a lot of common sense. And when I get into different industries, I like studying it. I break it down and I ask a lot of questions because I want to get to know, right, how their business model works. And so I was telling him, so if you take a look at McDonald's, right, McDonald's has 32,000 locations around the world. 26,000 of it is franchise. I said, ultimately, it's the McDonald's Corporation that wins because they get a 10% royalty from 26,000 locations around the world. And so our outcome, I tell my guys, I go, my outcome is not really for you to be an agent. Everybody should be a broker. Everybody should own their own agency. You don't make a career. I said, you don't make a permanent career out of being an agent. I said, that's not why we came here for. I said, you came here because you want to be in control. You want to become your own agent and all those things. And so like, for example, like, you know, Mike's not only an SMD, but Mike actually has several SMDs that he gets to override. But the company now, so let's say like me and Mike, you know, I've been in the company probably twice the length Mike has, but me and Mike are both on an 80% contract. But the company goes, you know, Nate, if it wasn't for you, or let's say I was his, right? I was his, if it wasn't for you, so I get what you call a 10% royalty. So for the rest of his career, I get a 10% royalty from every agency that I train and develop. And then the other thing that they added is they simplified a profit sharing plan. So there's the fourth way we make money is what we call bonus income. So it's a profit sharing plan where you participate in the company profits on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and on an annual basis, where they pay out. So 7% of the profits of the entire company goes into that pool, and we get a pro rata share based on the performance of our agency and all those things. So that's on the business side. So we've gotten both on the consumer and on the entrepreneur side. The company is so much more attractive today than it's ever been. And almost every person that we've brought back in from the industry, he said, man, I had a preconceived notion of what WFG was until I was physically in it. I had no idea that it was this good. And if I knew it was this good, I would have been on board a whole lot sooner than messing around with these other broker dealers. But I told the guy, I said, for an entrepreneur platform, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. But on the employee platform, obviously we're not designed, you know, for an employee model.
Right.
And so, but this is, you know, so we touched on both sides, the consumer side and then on the business side. And then one thing I want to do, oops. This is our stats here today. I mean, we've helped out 4.2 million families since 01. We've been growing at about a 7.3% rate since 012 to 2018. Right now we have about 42,000 licensed reps, 77 on the WFG side, on the WFG insurance agency. 94 guys are over $1 million in income. Some of the companies we work with and do business with, a lot of the plans, see that part right there, the wills and living trust and estate planning, and that's where you come in. But it's an added service that you can provide. And so, and then some of the concepts, I'm sure you've heard of these already. Tax defer, yeah. Last thing I wanted to go over. 30 reasons why we have the #1 business platform, in my opinion. And so I wanted to share with you this real quick, and then I'll jump onto the last thing. And then if you have any questions. So I was talking to my client that owns 6 KFCs, because as I was studying his business model, and he was telling me about his business model, I said, well, do you mind if I share you my business model? So it's 2 brothers. And what I ended up helping him out financially. I set up a key person insurance, a buy-sell agreement, and an executive bonus plan for these 2 brothers that own their own KFC. So they have 50-50 ownership. So they were concerned about what happens to each other if something happens, and then they're concerned about their future and then their family, right? And so what they would do, once they own the first one, they've been in business now over 25 years, and they own 6 stores. And as you know, regardless of what franchise it is, it typically takes you about 7 years for you to recoup your money, right? Of the money that you put out there to basically purchase the franchise. And so what they did is they bought the first one, they recycled all, once the debts were paid, they purchased number 2. Once debts were paid, they purchased number 3. Debts were paid, they purchased number 4. Now, the last 2 though, is not only did they purchase the business, they purchased the business plus the real estate. So these last 2, they're not going to see profit. I mean, they're going to see 0 profit for at least 7 years. Each of the real estate costs $2.3 million each. These 4, they were renting the property. These 2, they were renting the property. So I said, here's the difference between your business model and our business model. I said, I own 1 office. My lease is on 1 office. I have staff that works with me in this office. And for the rest of my life, I only have this office to maintain. And then my job is to train entrepreneurs to get them to think like me, where they can run their own office independently of me. And so when an office, let's say, for example, when Mike opens up an office, right? When, you know, my younger brother runs an office in Van Nuys, California. Our good family friend, Jeff and Michelle Brookshire, runs their own office in Diamond Bar. Artesia, we have another one, Artesia. Where else are we, Mike? Chino Hills. We're in Chino Hills. There's Irvine. More. Irvine, there you go. So we're in these locations. So I was telling the guy from KFC, I said, look, I said, the biggest expense to every company is employee cost, real estate costs, and number 3 is marketing. Number 3 is marketing. 3 biggest expense to any company. I said, 1, I have 0 employee overhead. I said I have 1 real estate overhead. I have 1, and I have no marketing overhead. I said, every time you open up a KFC, you incur more employee overhead, real estate overhead, marketing overhead on all 6 of your locations. That's why it's taken you 25 years to get the 6 locations. And I said, our business model here is I'm only responsible for 1. The entrepreneur I trained to go open up their own office, they're responsible for that office. And this person, that my brother that opened up his own office in Van Nuys, he's responsible. I don't have employee overhead there. I don't have real estate overhead. I pay no marketing. I have 0 overhead to that office. But yet we get a 10% royalty with 0 exposure, 0 liability. And therefore, I can scale my income and keep my overhead the same. And afterwards, the guy from KFC is like, I should have met you 20 years ago. I said, it's not too late. I said, you can liquidate your 6 KFCs, cash out, and come into business with me. But that's pretty much our model. And then last thing I want to share with you here. Oops. So here, just kind of give you an idea what's transpired since. So I have senior marketing director, life securities and advisory license. executive, CEO. These are the average incomes, and then the highest at those positions, their highest incomes and all those things. There's the 5 different ways we earn income that I talked about: personal income, agency income, expansion income, bonus income, and then recurring income. These are all, you know, conventions, villas, trips that we do. Last year in 2019, we got close, but I think we'll do it this year. We're closing the gap on paying $1 billion to the field, which is pretty neat. So we helped out 426,000 families in 2019 and close to $845 million of income to the field. So, which is pretty cool. So when we sit down with people, we go over, hey, there's 4 options, right? So the first one is you can partake in a complementary financial strategy. If you're satisfied with your career and you have discretionary income, I mean, you can consider becoming a client. So that option's on the table. And so last night I helped out a nurse. She's a research nurse over at the City of Hope, the cancer hospital.
Right.
And so I help her out with her finances and all those things. And so we're done helping her with her finances. We roll over her 401k. We set up an IUL for her. I think we're moving the money to Franklin Templeton, and in the IUL I set up with Transamerica. I said, okay, so now that number 1's done, I said, would you like to partake in any of the other 3 options? So I said, well, so option 2 is there's a referral program that we have, or what you call a revenue sharing program. And so the question I had is, would you like to make extra money just by referring people? We do the work, you share 50% of the revenue. And so, you know, if you look at Kyron, like companies that thrive today, companies that thrive today allow you to both be the consumer and the what? And the seller. Like Amazon allows you to sell products or buy the products, right? Airbnb, although they're not doing really well right now because of what's going on, but Airbnb is revolutionizing the hotel industry, where I can rent my house or I can rent a house. Uber does the same thing, right? Uber is, you can drive your car around, and as long as you have a driver's license, using their platform, you can participate in the service or make money. All we've basically done is we've done the same thing in financial services. So many people, and then we live in a world today where most people don't rely on just one source of income. Most people have multiple streams of income. It's crazy. I had somebody deliver some food to me the other day, you know, through Instacart. And once I found out, I go, you know, they were doing that part-time. They had 2 kids at home, but they were also a nurse and doing that. And I go, where's, you know, there was a disconnect. Why don't you just do more overtime there being a nurse? Because I'm sure you're not pulling in crazy money delivering Instacart, right? But most people have twin careers. And so we saw this as a tool for us to help more people. We don't have to worry about marketing because we're constantly getting referrals. And then as long as they get their life and health license, we can split them in the business that they generate on the referral basis on option number 2. And then option 3 is they can become a licensed professional, make their own schedule, become their own boss, right? And enjoy being self-employed and all those things. And then the full-time and a business owner, right? Using our system where you can build a business as big as your commitment and your vision, and then you can take advantage of our platform. And so it's an equal level playing field. I've seen guys today, go through the ranks so much faster than I've ever seen it before. And just because the platform and the business has become easier, and especially in today's times, it's unfortunate that so many industries out there are struggling, but our business is actually booming because when times are good, right, everybody wants to invest, and when times are bad, everybody wants to listen now. And so right now we have a captured audience because everybody wants to listen. And then I'm sure you're familiar with, it wasn't around back in 2003. Are you familiar with IULs?
No, I'm not actually.
No? Okay. Let me share that concept because it's actually very brilliant. And so And this didn't exist when I first got started in the industry, but it came about because we wanted to find a concept. You know, back in the VUL, you know, the era that WFG built their business on, they first started, their flagship product was called the VUL. And so, you know, variable universal life. But the challenge is 2001 hit, right? 9/11 hit. And so they had to like, okay, when the market's up, our clients are making money, but when the market's down, our clients are losing money. So we need to create a flagship product. When the market's doing well, our clients are making money, but when the market's down, they don't lose any money. And so, simple idea that we teach people, I said, there's 4 different ways your money can grow. I mean, there's a foundation to your money. There's what we call the 4 cornerstones of a strong financial foundation. I said, cornerstone number 1 is money has to grow. Period. You know, Warren Buffett said that, right? And then the second thing money has to do is you gotta keep your money safe. Third one is we need tax advantages. And number 4 is proper protection. So an IUL, and I tell people, I go, there's 3 ways your money can grow. A, it can do this. B, it can do this. C, it can do this. So I said, if you have a choice, which concept would you rather have? Would you rather have A, B, or C? So C is basically, it's an index universal life, but policies today have become so much more versatile than it's ever been before. And so, and I'll explain a few more things on here. So I'll use Transamerica as an example. So Transamerica has an IUL. The account can basically can earn up to 15%. There's a safety net of 0.75%. And
so it doesn't drop below. It doesn't
Correct.
drop below 7.5.
Correct. So for example, I'll just use this as an example. A client dumps in 10 grand in there. Market does 20%. You're capped at 15, so your account goes from 10 to 11,500. Let's say the following year, market drops by minus 20%. My account not only remains at 11,500, but I still get a 0.75 credit on 11,500. And I tell people, I said, that's so powerful because the reason being is your money is compounding on interest that never loses. And I show this graph with people. I'm going to come back to this here real quick, but I'm going to pull up another slide. And you know this already being in the industry. But I show this graph with people. I said, with everything that's happening now, you know, we're close. I think we're at about a 30 to a 35% loss. Not close to where 08 was. We were there before this three-day rally that happened the last 3 days. But I said, mathematically, you know, when you lose 38% like we did in 08, you need a 67% rate of return to get your money back. And I said, our recovery from 2008 took the next, I mean, we needed 5 years to recover from 08. And I said, it's okay for people that our retirement is a long away, but it sucks for people where their retirement is around the corner, or the people that were retiring that year. And so I said, the power, and I was sharing with a client, there's the power of this is, these are what you call realized gains, because they actually pay you the cash into your policy. So let's say when you make 10% and you make $1,000 on that money, it's actually cash that they're depositing into your account. It's what we call realized gains. I said your 401k, your mutual funds, I said that's what you call paper money. I mean, it's paper wins and it's paper loss. You realize it when you decide to cash it out. But I said the power of the IUL, it's actually realized gains that's being deposited into your account. So going back to this IUL idea, is it grows up to 15%. There's a safety of 0.75%. You know, there's the tax advantage benefits of it. As long as you take it out through loans, there's over loan protection rider. That means your policy will never lapse if you happen to take more money out you'll never subject to taxes, and you can pull your money out on a tax-free basis. And so you have tax-free basis. So it works similar to the Roth IRA, right? And I said, and then here's the last part that's more prevalent today than it ever has. So protection-wise, most people, when they think of life insurance, that's only for the people that I left behind, that I love, that are living, right? In a form of a death benefit. So now, because of all the baby boomers, you know, we got what? We have 78 million baby boomers all retiring here within the next 20 years. So one of the things that they've adapted, I'll just use this as an example. Let's say I have $1 million death benefit. Let's say if I have $1 million death benefit, in the policies that exist today, I don't have to die to go use my $1 million. Second biggest concern of all retirees, if I get sick, who takes care of me? Second, first one is I don't want to outlive my money. I want the stream of income when I retire. But number two is if my health deteriorates, I want money. I don't want to rely on my kids or other people to take care of me. So there's now what we call living benefits. So the living benefits from long-term care to chronic illness, to critical illness, to terminal illness, all in one policy. And then here's typically what happens, like back in the day, policies back then, we would buy a separate retirement plan. We would buy a separate life insurance plan. We would buy a separate long-term care. And sometimes we would buy like cancer insurance or whatever the case may be. So I'm paying fees here and 3 different premiums on 3 different policies. In this scenario, because I'm using one death benefit on that $1 million, I've eliminated close to 90% of the cost that I would typically be paying for if I had all 3 of these things separately, plus the fees associated with your investments. So I've eliminated 90% of the fees and the cost by building it into one, because it's the same death benefit that I'm using. So for example, if I needed long-term care, I can get $10,000 a month until I drain my $1 million. Or let's say I get chronically ill or critically ill. So chronic, critical, terminal illness, I can access 25% to 90% of that money, depending on the severity of my illness. And let me pull up an example here. Okay, I don't know what happened there with me. Okay, you guys there?
Yep.
Okay. So real quick on this one, I just wanted to give you guys an example here. Huh. Okay, there it is. So I actually have a client that's in her early 50s, and I was just showing her how to redistribute her account, just because they've already accumulated millions of dollars in their tax deferred account. I said, you guys know that. I said, you guys know that you know, they have pension, and they between husband and wife, they have close to $3 million in their 401k, right? I said, why you guys continue to defer your money? Because you guys are already paying a boatload of taxes when you guys retire. And so I said, let's restructure a bit. right? I said, pay the taxes now, right? Most accountants give you an entrance strategy without giving you an exit strategy. I said, have you asked about how you exit from these plans? I said, well, how do we exit from these plans? I said, yeah, you add up all your income, including the distributions you take from these retirement plans, and you're paying taxes on everything. And so, and then there's a 70.5 rule where they force you to take your money out, right? By the time you're 70.5. But anyways, so here's an example of an IUL where we restructured their finances. So she was putting a she was deferring between the husband and wife, I think about $60,000 a year into tax deferred, but they've already built $3 million between the two of them in there. So anyways, we took 42,000 and then 10 years of it where they contributed 420,000 here. I said to take a $71,000 a year distribution tax-free for 25 years, right? Totaling $1.7 million tax-free. So I said, would you trade 420 to get 1.8 back, close to 1.8 back in return? And so he said it makes sense. But that's pretty much what we do. So I mean, that's a brief analogy of what an IUL is. It's become our flagship products. At the same time, because on our end, for most of our agents, it's I don't have to worry about. So I still do mutual funds, variable annuities, right? Betterment with Trans Alpha and all those things. But we do a bulk of business with these IULs because I only got I'd say about 4 phone calls from my clients worried about the market. And I think I have over 600 of them personally. I'm not talking about my agency, but personally, I think I have over 600, and I didn't get any phone calls from them. But that's just so that's just a brief overview with what we do for the consumer and then our business platform. Any questions you have on what we went over so far?
Right now, no questions. I mean, you guys doing some good stuff. There's no doubt about it. Do you have any materials that you can send me? There's some synergy. I believe there's synergy there. I believe that, Mike made a connection for a reason. And you guys obviously are successful in helping people, which is a good thing. So, there's some synergy. How it looks, I'm not sure, but there's definitely some synergy.
Right. Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah, we can certainly send you some material over for you to look more.
So the licensing requirements is the life license. Is it the state 66?
65.
65. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it's 63, 6, 65 in life and health. So let's say if you want to be full service, that would be the licenses to be able to fully service. And I'm sure you know this from practicing. I mean, wouldn't you agree with me that 80% of people are savers and about 20% are investors? And I've put, and then before, I've made some, where I put a saver into an investor and tried to convince them to put it, into variable accounts. The worst thing you can do for a saver is to invest it, they lose money, and they lose hope. And then the worst thing you can do for an investor is to make them a saver. And so, but what we found is that 80% of people actually are savers. You go, man, if I can average an 8% rate of return, if I can make better than the bank, if you can give me 6, 7, 8%, and then you can make it tax-free, I'm good. I don't care for the 20. And then there's the 20% where you go, oh, I can make better than 8, or I can make better than 10. Then that's where we need our securities license. But 80% will be able to service. And so it could be the relationship where you get your life and health and you refer business to, to Mike and to us, and then we just split you on all the businesses. Any agent that you refer over to us, or any person that you refer over to us that ends up wanting to do the business, we obviously will code them in your agency. So we'll help train and develop them for your agency, unless you want to take a proactive role in it. And then vice versa, any business that we come across in your field, we would work with you and then refer them your way.
So from what I understand, you replace NetLaw. Do you remember who you replaced NetLaw with for estate plans?
I think we have a couple. We have Legacy Shield. A lot of this are do it your own online, but most people don't really want to do it their own. So I think people don't mind paying premium to have somebody do it for them. That's why they're coming to us in the first place. But
well,
I think
you have that relationship. You know, you already have that
Right.
trusting relationship, and so you're a trusted advisor. So
Right.
they go to you first, you know, because it's within the legacy planning, family planning, financial planning.
Correct. Right. Yeah. So I think it's Mike. Do you know? I think it's Legacy Shield, and there was one more. Do we still do it? I'm not sure. I gotta double check. I've never I've used it a couple times, but I still like the personal touch. Like I don't mind having people pay a little bit more premium than paying $500 and then them trying to figure it out on their own in the computer.
Okay. Well, some good information. It's about 4 o'clock now.
Yeah.
So what's your process? Let me, I really believe there's some synergies. There's a reason, some 18 years later, I'm having a WFG conversation. So there's some synergy somewhere. So maybe it's a good time to think about, maybe, if it's not, maybe a referral relationship or, a part-time relationship. I do have a lot of relationships in my legal practice, my real estate practice as well. So maybe there's some opportunities there. Are you still involved in real estate as well?
No, but I do come across a lot of people that are, and I mean, we can certainly make those connections if there's a way we can help you on that side too.
So there's something there. There's something there. I think we should follow up with another conversation and
let's you can ponder and sit on the information we discussed today, and I'm sure it'll come to you, and then we can circle back with this next week, and then we can just we'll jump on a call again and hash things out or go over some things that
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, pleasure. A pleasure meeting you. Enjoyed
Nathan, I appreciate your time. Good information. You guys are doing some really good things. Mike, appreciate you all the way there in Australia. You are, appreciate you putting me together and thinking about me. And I got a good feeling there's some synergy somewhere.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
I believe so too. So
right.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Karin. Pleasure, man.
All right.
We'll see you around. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Nate.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.